all the people.
I'm ready. I'm already recording.
My name is Sean Hayden. Thank you for coming today. I'm doing a persuasive speech on should college tuition and textbooks be free. As all of you may relate, at one time you have all gone to college and had student loans. They can be very demanding to pay off. Some people don't ever pay student loans off. It could take up to 30 years. How are you ever supposed to pay such a thing off? Imagine this world free from college tuition and the outrageous fees of college textbooks. The burden of paying off student loans for the next 30 years may cause extreme anxiety and cause worry within many families for years to come. What college student like you, like me, like all of us, wouldn't want or be in favor of such a thing? One thing I always hear somebody being asked is, why aren't you going to school? 90% of the time, the answer is, well, I just cannot afford it. That should never be the case. Somebody should never be prevented by the cost of anything to put a damper on moving up in life. Money or the financial burden should never affect anybody, especially when they're trying to better themselves for a better future. Most jobs these days require a bachelor's degree, and as I've searched jobs over the last couple years, even a master's degree. Some people want to go on further to get their doctorate, so on and so forth. How are they going to ever afford that? How are they ever going to pay that off? Law school. These guys rack up hundreds of thousands of dollars in fees throughout school, and eventually they have to pay these things off. According to Campus Explorer, on national average, a bachelor's degree at a public university is $25,588. At a private university, it costs $85,296. That's just for a bachelor's degree. Imagine if it was a master's. Imagine if it was law school, doctorate, anything. That is absolutely outrageous for something to be, and something must be done to change that. Today I propose to you folks, and everybody in this world, here in attendance, I want you guys to get on board with free college tuition and the textbook movement. We must rise together as one and make this a real possibility. It is valuable, extremely important for any student currently in college or wanting to go to college to not feel the financial strain. It's important as an entire society that we make this dream for many come true. Free college for all would be an extremely gratifying feeling for all individuals looking to attend or currently attending. It will prepare every individual for a brighter and better future. School now versus years ago. 10 to 20 years ago, tuition was $20 to $50 a credit hour. Now it's well over $100 per credit hour. One class is anywhere from 3 to 4 credits. They can cost hundreds of dollars just to take one class. Not to mention the textbook could cost $200 to $300. It's outrageous. The average student debt as of 2016 has increased to nearly $30,000 according to the U.S. News. Textbooks plus the cost of living. The cost of living is so high in America. People have to worry about their living situation before they can go to school, before they can pay for textbooks. When you strain to pay your bills as is, and then you add on school and the cost of books out of pocket, what are you supposed to do? Live paycheck to paycheck? Never be able to do anything? It's outrageous. According to the USA Today, the average student is looking to owe $26,600 after graduation, at the bare minimum. The amount of people not going to school because of the cost. Millions of people each year simply can't afford it. This is absurd and shouldn't be the case. People want to go to school, they should be able to go to school. That's where there's taxes. Why isn't our taxes paying for free education? We spend our tax money on all this other crap, and we can't spend the money for people to go to school and have a better society. According to the Berkeley blog, college degrees increase lifetime learning substantially by up to or exceeding $1 million. I will now use a stat chart showing cost of public 4-year degree, private 4-year degree, and public 2-year degree from 1983 predicted through 2025. The numbers increase drastically. Here's a little flow chart I made, anywhere from $0 up to $60,000. Back in 1983, as you see, it's at a zero number. A public 4-year has increased drastically. A public 2-year has increased drastically. A private 4-year has increased drastically. These numbers aren't going down. If no changes are ever made, these numbers are going to keep rising and rising to the point where nobody's going to go to school. Nobody can afford school unless you are willing to take on debt for many years to come. Most people have debt as it is. Who wants more debt? Why should we have more debt? Going and not going to school has major effects in the workplace. For one, many students or non-students, people without degrees, have a hard time finding a job that pays more than minimum wage or even pays the bills. Many people have to live together, split rent, and they can't have their own freedom because of the burden. College grads earn $17,500 more on average than someone with no degree. People that go to school, they learn dedication, their intelligence rises, they're educated. That's what companies are looking for. That's what people want in their workplace. Connor Freisdorf of Forbes states that more tests should be done to explore resources how to make college textbooks free or even cheaper. The biggest hit that's being done right now is online textbooks. A lot of places are switching over to e-textbooks. They still cost money, but they're a lot cheaper than buying the actual textbook. Because nowadays, the textbook companies are making first edition, second edition. Every semester there's a new edition. There's more, nothing changes but 5 words. And you have a new edition in a textbook that costs you $400 that you turn in 4 months later. The lack of educated in this country. Forbes says that 36 million Americans lack the basic work skills. Why? Because there's no school. They're not going to school. After high school, they go into the job world with no skills. They have skills, but dedication is what primarily companies look for in a degree. If you dedicate 4 years of your life to going to school and educating yourself, they look at you as a valuable asset to their company. It makes for a better future all around. College. It braces you for the future and your life ahead. Average annual cost of education in this country is $53 billion. Who needs $53 billion? Why can't they cut that in half and let people go to school for free? They're still going to make money on things. We pay taxes. We should go. Bottom line. USA Today states 2/3 of the 2011 graduating class had student loan debt. That's incredible. So 2/3 of these people since 2011 have been paying student loans now for 5+ years. And they probably have 25 more years of payment. Bottom line is, something must be done to stop this outrageous inflation on college costs. The cost is so high that it is truly hurting students and putting a real damper on their futures. People shouldn't have to bury themselves and plan for a better future. The Chronicle of Higher Education thinks that having free textbooks is no easy task to accomplish, but something that needs to be evaluated and taken serious. At what point is the breaking point? Less and less people are being educated due to the price. We need educated people in this society. We need intelligent people in this society. We need more people than ever in our workplace to be successful. If this continues, the negative impact it will have on this workplace and the educated of our society will be quickly noticed. This must stop now. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Slams, what question you got for me?
Have you taken on personal debt yourself? Like, do you know the ins and outs of, what it is like to deal with these problems?
Initially, I had Florida prepaid, so I didn't have debt. But that was my parents, who are both here, putting money in a fund for me to go to college. That's still money. That's still having to pay for college. It's not free. They put the money in to help me out. That's gone. So now I'm 5 semesters in, taking on student loans. I don't know the exact number. I'm scared to look. I don't want to know, but eventually I'm going to have to pay it back. Or I'm going to have to dodge phone call after phone call from collections agency. Sally Mae is going to be calling me nonstop wanting to know where their money is. Hopefully I can pay it. We'll see when the time comes. Got a question?
So, when you say free education, I mean, obviously there's like costs for universities and things like that, cost for staff. So what's the proposal for how do we pay for it? It's gonna have to get paid for somehow. So what would be your suggestion for how it's going to get paid for? Because nothing's ever really free.
That's a good question. Free is a word everyone loves, but it's a word that has an underlining meaning. There's never anything free in life. My basis, without doing a ton of research, is simple, but I'm sure it's a lot more in-depth as to taxes. Why aren't our taxes paying for everything? I know they don't pay for everything. They got to go towards other stuff, but none of it is going for free school. None of it is going for free college textbooks. Professors make great money, as they should. They've gone to school. They've educated themselves. They're educating others. They're preparing people for, they're preparing people to be intelligent, learn how to work, history, education, you name it. It's great. You got to have professors. They have to be paid. But the outrageous amount of money that people pay in their taxes every single year, one individual person, times that by millions and millions of people. That should cover everything. Maybe not, you could have cheaper college textbooks. I'm not 100% on board that college textbooks should be 100% free, but they should be heavily discounted to where they're at now. Nobody should have to pay $400 for a 4th edition book when the 5th edition book's going to come out next year. That's a scam. It's a 100% absolute scam. I've come to renting textbooks now. I rented a textbook this semester for $40. I turn it in June. I'm perfectly okay with that. But I'm not going to buy a textbook and not be in my trade-in value be $30 on a $400 book. But back to your question, taxes, in my opinion, should cover all, if not a high percentage of costs, to cover everything within a university or a college. All right, now we're going to do the audience critique. If anyone has any feedback they'd like to add, I'm going to turn it over to Andrew to give you guys some questions here or advice. See what you got for me.
We will start the critique portion of this speech now. I'll open it up to the audience for any comments and questions.
The only small critique that I have is, especially at the beginning of it, you have a tendency to kind of rock back and forth.
I noticed that halfway.
So I know it's difficult, especially in a room full of people, to stand still when you're standing in the corner of the carpet.
I tried standing still for about 10 seconds, and then I caught myself wobbling around again.
And then there were a few times that I caught you trying to put your hand in your pocket, which you pulled it out right away.
Mm-hmm.
But just another call out.
Good. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. I noticed it throughout, but it's already done, so I'm like, okay, try not to do that.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any feedback?
Well, I think that you were very good with your facts and figures. You provided a lot of numbers, and I thought you researched your presentation well.
Good.
You did a good job.
And you make a good point, because that is very true. When you're done with school, it takes years to pay those loans back. And going back several years, it used to take people an average of at least 10 years to pay their money back, which is outrageous.
People are paying student loans now over 30 years.
I'll be paying them for the next 30 years.
I know, Ryan, you had grants and scholarships and things of that nature throughout college, which is great. It helps you. So you don't have that burden of having to pay a bunch of money back. Your fiance, Jen, she has student loans.
Yeah.
You know that. She don't know the exact number every month, but even if your monthly payment on a student loan is $250, rent alone nowadays, yet alone owning something, is so expensive. People aren't making what they used to make, especially here in the state of Florida. There's not a whole lot of jobs to come by that are, a lot of people with bachelor's degrees, even master's degrees, are making $30,000, $40,000 a year. But they're $80,000, $90,000 in debt. You could pay it off in 3 years if you spend every single dime you have on it. It's just not practical.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I thank all of you for coming and participating in this. I appreciate it.